Today, we're diving into this intriguing idea of winning through action instead of words,
Okay.
using Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power as our guide.
The 48 Laws of Power.
Buckle up.
Uh, uh,
This deep dive might just change how you approach persuasion forever.
it's all about navigating those sometimes slippery dynamics of power.
Yeah.
And it does so with fascinating historical examples and a dose of,
Okay.
shall we say,
I like it.
pragmatic wisdom.
Pragmatic wisdom. Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument. That really jumped out at me. It feels counterintuitive in our world of endless debates,
Yeah.
don't you think?
It does, but think about it. How often do arguments, even when you're right, actually change someone's mind?
Right.
More often they trigger defensiveness, resentment,
Yeah.
and sometimes those heated words we later regret.
It's like trying to argue someone into liking pineapple on pizza.
Right.
It just ends in frustration. Probably no Hawaiian pizza for anyone.
Exactly.
But seriously, why do arguments backfire, even when we think we have the facts on our side?
Well, I think we forget that logic and reason are not the only forces at play.
Okay.
People are driven by ego, emotions, their own internal narratives.
Yeah.
An argument, even a logical one, can feel like a personal attack on those things.
Greene actually tells a pretty chilling story about this.
He does.
The Roman consul and the engineer talk about high-stakes persuasion
Oh, yeah.
or lack thereof.
So the engineer was certain his smaller battering ram design was superior,
Okay.
purely based on physics, but he underestimated the power dynamics at play.
Interesting.
The consul's need to assert his authority.
He kept arguing, completely missing the warnings from the soldiers to back down.
Oh, no.
And, well, let's just say his brilliant engineering didn't save him from a very unfortunate end.
A bit extreme, sure, but the underlying principle is universal.
I was just going to say.
How often do we butt heads with a boss,
Right.
a client, even a family member,
It's so true.
clinging to our rightness when a different approach might actually get us what we want?
It's a sobering thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's not about being a pushover,
Right.
but rather picking your battles
Yes.
and understanding what's really at stake.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's less about proving a point and more about achieving a desired outcome.
Precisely.
Okay.
And sometimes the most persuasive action is knowing when to step back from an argument altogether.
Interesting.
But of course, that begs the question, if arguing is often off the table, what does effective persuasion look like?
I'm all ears. Give me the Greene wisdom.
Greene offers a brilliant example of action-based persuasion with none other than Michelangelo.
The artist, not the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, right?
Right, correct. It's
Okay.
Renaissance Italy. And Michelangelo is tasked with sculpting the David from this massive block of marble. But this isn't just any marble.
Right.
It was previously abandoned after another sculptor had made kind of a mess of it.
Oh, so we've got pressure. One very famous sculptor
That's
to the side of prove everyone wrong.
Exactly.
I can already see where this is going.
And to make matters even more complicated,
Okay.
the mayor, a self-proclaimed art expert,
Oh, boy.
is skeptical of the whole project.
Of course.
When he sees the nearly finished David, he has one major critique. The nose. Too big, he declares.
Oh, I can only imagine Michelangelo's reaction.
Yeah.
Trying to explain artistic vision to someone who thinks they know better.
Right.
Recipe for disaster.
Well, instead of arguing,
I think
Michelangelo uses a bit of cleverness.
Okay.
He invites the mayor up on the scaffolding,
Yep.
getting him up close and personal to this imposing statue.
Okay.
Chisel in hand, Michelangelo takes some marble dust
What?
and pretends to make adjustments to the nose, letting the dust fall as if he was actually reshaping the marble.
Wait, marble dust. Was that like a power move? Like throwing shade literally?
Not quite.
Okay.
Michelangelo understood that the mayor's critique wasn't really about the nose. It was about feeling heard,
Interesting.
important.
Okay.
By involving the mayor in this artistic process,
Right.
he shifted the dynamic.
Interesting.
So instead of arguing, he gave the mayor this sense of ownership over the change,
I see.
even if the change was purely an illusion.
Wow.
And it worked.
Wow.
The mayor, none the wiser, believes his feedback led to an improvement.
Oh, my.
Michelangelo, through subtle action, saved his sculpture and avoided a clash of egos.
That's incredible. So it goes beyond just actions speak louder than words.
It does.
It's about understanding the deeper motivations and insecurities of the people that you're dealing with.
Exactly.
Wow.
And Greene takes this concept even further.
Okay.
He argues that it's not just about actions, but about mastering the power of symbols.
Okay, now we're getting into the really interesting stuff.
Right.
Tell me more about this power of symbols.
Well, think about it. Symbols have this incredible ability to bypass our logical minds and tap directly into our emotions, our shared understanding.
Interesting.
A well-chosen symbol can be more powerful than 1,000 words.
Right.
Especially in high-stakes situations.
Give me an example.
Okay.
How do you use a symbol to win someone over, especially if you're not even arguing with them directly?
Greene talks about this fascinating example involving Henry Kissinger during negotiations with Israel.
Oh, okay.
They were at an impasse over the Sinai Peninsula, and tensions were running high.
High-stakes diplomacy.
Yeah.
That's where those unspoken power dynamics can really come into play.
Exactly.
What did Kissinger do?
So,
did he try to, outmaneuver them with logic and legal arguments?
not at all.
Okay.
He abruptly ended the meeting and announced he was going sightseeing to Masada.
Masada. Now, that rings a bell.
Yeah.
Remind me of the significance.
Masada is this ancient fortress where centuries earlier, Jewish rebels chose mass suicide over surrender to the Romans.
Right.
A powerful symbol of defiance and resistance, even in the face of overwhelming odds.
Wow. So by visiting Masada, Kissinger wasn't just taking a break.
Right.
He was making a statement.
Exactly.
Well,
it was a message aimed directly at their collective memory and identity.
Okay.
It said, don't repeat history. Choose negotiation over destruction.
Wow.
He sidestepped logic and tapped into something far deeper, their shared history and anxieties.
Chills. That's next-level persuasion.
Right.
It really highlights how a strategically chosen symbol can cut through all the noise and defenses.
And remember, this wasn't just any symbol.
Right.
This was one carefully chosen for its specific resonance with these Israeli negotiators.
Right.
It spoke volumes without Kissinger uttering a single word.
I need a minute to process all this.
Yeah.
We've gone from battering rams to Michelangelo's nose to ancient fortresses. My head is spinning.
It's a lot.
But in a good way. So much to unpack here.
It's about understanding that persuasion isn't always this head-on game.
Yeah.
Sometimes the most effective approach is indirect, symbolic, even a bit theatrical.
To wrap things up, what are some key takeaways our listeners can put into action?
First and foremost, choose your battles.
Okay.
Is winning this argument.
Right.
Proving your point really worth the potential cost.
Yeah.
Sometimes strategic retreat is the wisest move.
Interesting.
And when you do engage, think about your long game.
Okay.
Will words truly persuade, or would an action, a demonstration, be more effective?
Mm-hmm.
Channel your inner Michelangelo.
Okay.
Don't just tell them, show them.
I like it.
And never underestimate the power of symbols.
Right.
A well-chosen image, a gesture, even visiting a meaningful location.
Yeah.
These can speak volumes where words often fail.
It's like that old saying Greene quotes.
Yes.
The truth is generally seen, rarely heard.
Yes.
So much wisdom packed into those few words.
I know, it's so good.
As always, thanks for diving into these fascinating ideas with me.
Thank you for having me.
And to our listeners, keep exploring, keep questioning.
Yes.
And remember, the art of persuasion is a lifelong pursuit.
It is.
Until next time.